So, I've got a story for you today. It's a truly chilling account from a man named Shankar Day. And this isn't just some story he heard. It's a memory that he says has literally followed him, haunted him for years. This is one of those experiences that leaves a permanent mark.
I mean, just listen to that. That's from the man himself. We're not talking about a quick jump scare in a movie. This is a deep, lasting fear that has stuck with him for his entire life. So the question is, what on earth could happen in a single night to mess someone up that badly?
All right, so let's set the scene. The story actually begins on a stormy evening way out in the middle of nowhere. Shankar Da is with his friends, huddled inside an old village clubhouse. You can just picture it, right? Rain hammering on a tin roof, the smell of wet earth in the air, a single lantern flickering. It's the absolute perfect setup for a terrifying story.
And that's when he starts talking. He takes everyone back in time, back to when he was a young man, only about 25 years old. See, he was a government survey officer, which meant his job was to travel to all these remote, forgotten villages. He was a practical guy, a man of maps and figures, not somebody who believed in stories like the one he's about to tell.
His assignment takes him to this village called Chadipur. And this place, wow, it felt like it was stuck in a time warp. We're talking no modern anything, just mud paths, thick bamboo groves, and this feeling that time had just stopped, maybe centuries ago.
The very first thing he noticed was the quiet. But, coming from a noisy city, you'd think quiet would be peaceful. This wasn't. This was a heavy, almost unnatural silence, a quiet that felt like it was hiding something terrible.
And here's the really weird thing about the village. It had this bizarre split personality. During the day, it was alive. Kids were laughing, farmers were singing out in the fields. It looked like a postcard. But the second the sun started to go down, it's like a switch was flipped. A deep, fearful silence just fell over everything. Get this, even the village dogs wouldn't bark, as if they were all terrified of something. So the village headman, the guy who takes him in, gives him this very strange warning. And it wasn't a suggestion. It was a command. He was dead serious when he said it, and he was very, very specific about one place, the cremation ground.
So Shankar Da, being the practical guy he is, asks why. Are there robbers, bandits? And the headman just uses this one word, Nishachar. It means night wanderers. Of course, Shankar Da just brushed it off. He figured, okay, local superstition, every little village has its spooky stories. He had no idea how real this was about to get.
And then came the night that changed everything. Shankar Da was up late, working on his survey papers. Outside, a big storm was kicking up. The wind was howling, and a cold rain started to fall. That unsettling quiet he'd noticed before, now it felt 10 times more menacing. And that's when he heard it, cutting through the wind and the rain, a sound. It was someone crying, a sound of just deep, heartbreaking pain. He looked out his window and saw her, a girl, dressed in a white sari, looking so pale and sad, walking from the direction of, you guessed it, the cremation ground.
I mean, what do you do? Every instinct told him to stay inside, but his conscience got the better of him. He grabbed an umbrella and went out to her. And when he asked what was wrong, this is what she told him. Her voice was just so full of desperation, he couldn't just turn his back. So, completely ignoring the headman's warning, he said he'd help.
So he starts following her, and the path she takes him on is this narrow, dark track that is winding directly toward the one place he was explicitly told to avoid. The air gets colder, heavier. Every nerve in his body is just screaming that this is a huge, huge mistake. The walk itself was this assault on his senses. The air was thick with these awful smells. Rotten flowers, the ash from old funeral pyres, stale incense, and the only sound besides the storm was the faint rhythmic jingle of the girl's anklet as she walked just a few feet ahead of him in the dark.
And he couldn't shake this feeling. You know that feeling when the hair on the back of your neck stands up, that primal instinct that you're being watched? He felt it intensely, like something was hiding in the shadows of the bamboo, just watching them. They finally reach this rundown spot on the riverbank, and there, lying in the mist, he sees it. It's the body of an old man, and his throat has been cut wide open. Just a horrifying, brutal sight. The girl's words about her father being helpless, yeah, that was a chilling understatement.
He spins around to talk to the girl, to ask what in God's name happened, and she's gone. Just vanished into thin air. He is completely, utterly alone. Just him, the storm, the darkness, and a dead body. And that's when pure, ice-cold panic finally sets in.
Right as he's about to just turn and run for his life, he feels this freezing cold hand clamp down on his shoulder. He turns around, so slowly, and it's the girl, but it's not the same girl. Her eyes, they were like burning coals. Her lips were a sickly blue, and she had this grotesque, twisted smile on her face that was not human.
And then she spoke, but her voice wasn't sad anymore. It was filled with this ancient, chilling power. As she asks him this question, he sees these dark, shadowy figures start to move in the fog all around them, slowly closing in. He was paralyzed, literally could not move a muscle. He tried to scream, but nothing came out. And then she started to sing, this horrible, sad song that was somehow mixed with what sounded like the wailing of 100 other voices, the voices of the dead. He felt himself blacking out as these spirits moved closer and closer.
And then, nothing. He wakes up the next morning. He's lying on the cold, damp earth of the cremation ground. He's all alone. The terror from the night before feels like some twisted nightmare, but the cold that seeped into his bones, that feels very, very real.
He somehow manages to stumble his way back to the village. And when the villagers see him, see where he's coming from, their faces just go white with terror. He's shaking, he can barely speak, but he tells them everything. And as he's talking, he sees this look in their eyes. It's not shock, it's recognition.
And that's when the whole ugly secret comes pouring out. 10 years before, bandits had murdered that exact man for his land and just dumped his body there. His daughter, running for her life, threw herself into the river and drowned. And the villagers, they were so scared that they did nothing. They never performed the last rites for either of them, leaving their souls trapped, restless, crying out for the peace they were denied.
And in that moment, Shankar Da understood everything. He realized he hadn't just seen a ghost. No, he had been pulled right into their tragedy. He had felt their unending pain and their desperation for peace, a pain so strong it had poisoned the very land and held an entire village hostage with fear for a decade.
Shankar Da left that village the very next day, and he never, ever went back. But his story leaves us with this question, right? Did those two souls ever find their peace? And what happens when a community's fear becomes so powerful that it makes them abandon their duty to the dead? It's a haunting thought to leave you with.